and it's extremely hoppy American brown ale, or IPA now. But I also will split off a batch and then add honey and make a braggot with that.
Nice.
I also
so you
probably
make a
my
honey
favorite.
IPA?
It's more of like a hybrid. Just call it a braggot. Stick with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's basically it's extremely hoppy. Still about the same 7%ish, because I've taken away some of the wort and then added more water and honey. So it's still the same percentage, but it's less hops and less flavour from the malt. It gives it more of a 50-50 flavour. That's one of my favourites. And then there's also my favourite mead to make it's a Belgian dark strong mead, inspired by Superstition's Belgian dark strong mead. Mm-hmm. The BDSM sort of name.
BDSM mead, I love it. I'm actually going there this summer on the Got Mead US tour. I'm going to swing through Prescott and hang out there for at least a day. I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, I'm hoping to lay my hands on some of these elusive ones that everybody is always trading for online.
I've not had the chance to have any of their stuff, and I would love to have some of their stuff. Some of the labels are awesome.
Oh yeah, they have some great labels. Hey, I tried peanut butter jelly crime when I was at the Mazer Cup. That was pretty good.
It was pretty good. I find that there's all of the peanut butter and jelly meads, they just don't have enough peanut butter. I don't know if it's a hard thing to express.
Well, then you need to make
when I'm
one.
making peanut butter and jam, I put more peanut butter on there than that. It's like they're spreading peanut butter like Vegemite and then putting jam with it.
I was wondering when Vegemite was going to come up, man.
I was actually going to say, there's something that Hamish didn't say before about Vegemite. Add honey to it.
I never thought of that.
So if you're
honey
making
and
toast,
Vegemite.
so do you know how you do your peanut butter and jelly? I accidentally made. I did a piece of toast with honey, and then I did a piece of toast with Vegemite. I accidentally had put them together, and I really loved it. So
you know, that's how they invented Reese's peanut butter cups. So you could do Reese's Vegemite cups. You know.
Be very interesting.
Yes, it would. Now I'm gonna have to go get that little jar of Vegemite that Bruce and Hamish brought me and try that with peanut butter and see how it tastes.
And honey. Just try it with Vegemite and honey.
And
Vegemite
honey too.
Yeah. I could see that really working now.
I totally could. It would be an interesting flavor combination.
Nice, salty.
What I was meaning was that Vegemite you spread so thin normally until you've got quite a taste for it, like we will sometimes have it thick, but typically you spread it really thin, and then you might have put lots of jam with it. And I couldn't taste the peanut butter the way I expected. Like, peanut butter should be on thick. I would like a much better expression.
When I make my PB&Js,
and I'm not picking on peanut butter jelly
lots
crime
of
here. I didn't
butter.
find a single one.
I don't think I managed to taste any of the peanut butter and anything meads.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I managed to miss them all.
PBJ Crime
the pecan pie
was
one was friggin' awesome.
PBJ Crime was only at the networking event after the AMMA conference.
Yeah, I didn't get any there. I found the pecan pie one though.
Oh, I missed that.
That was good.
Oh, bad. Dang. Yeah. There's always so many meads I want to try and never get the opportunity to, because there's just not enough. There's not enough hours in the day to try all the meads. And
you can only drink so much.
Exactly. Well, and after judging all day long, I'm kind of burned out on mead. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's what beer's for.
I don't understand that.
And you know, it's a good point, Sean, because we used to, and we don't do it much anymore, but what we used to do is, 2 days of judging mead at the Mazer Cup, and by Sunday we were so OD'd on mead that we were just like, don't even talk to me about anything with honey in it. I just like, blah, I
Give
just
me a goddamn beer.
Yeah, and so we'd go beer hunting, and in Boulder, you literally can't swing a cat without hitting a brewery. They're everywhere. Literally, like,
I know, I've heard.
It's ridiculous. I mean, they're thick in some parts of the country, but in Boulder, there's more breweries than there are Starbucks.
The same with Australia.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You don't have the Starbucks penetration that we got here, though.
There's not one in Perth. There's
Really?
no Starbucks in Perth.
No Starbucks.
We now have Krispy Kreme, though.
Krispy, you have Krispy Kreme? Oh, that's
Yeah,
so
Krispy
great.
Kreme.
You know, that's from here. That's where it started, was here.
Yeah.
I mean,
Really?
you know, where I live.
We
That's
could
where,
tell by the bad spelling.
Yeah. I didn't start it, so, you know. They're still the best donuts ever, you know. I mean, this is...
Yeah, they are good.
Yeah, we used to go. People line up.
It's sweet, though.
The original Krispy Kreme is in downtown Raleigh, and people will line
really?
up for the. Yeah, that's from. They say it's from here. You go down to when you go down there. If you go down there when it's time to make the donuts, which is like at 30 in the morning, people line up around the block to get the first.
Yeah.
The first round of donuts hot out of the oven because they're so good, you know.
For so long.
It was like that when they first opened here.
Oh, it was worse over in WA because if you work for one of the big four banks and you've got people go flying back and forth between Melbourne and Perth and Sydney, you've got people like all the overhead compartments in the plane
transporting
Krispy Kremes.
donuts.
That's
It
what
was like that
happened.
when they were only in Sydney.
That's what happened when they opened in California. All my Californian friends were like, Krispy Kreme! And I was like, dude, really? They're everywhere. Seriously? We're like really jaded about that? And they're going, no, Krispy Kreme! Krispy Kreme! You know, they were all excited.
Yeah, there was actually one of my former roommates worked for a place where they did a charity thing where they ordered in a bunch of Krispy Kremes from the States, and they were packed while they were still warm, and apparently it was this great big thing.
Oh.
Has anyone done a donut mead?
No, you should try that, Sean. Okay.
Well, a doughy
Nonetheless.
sugar and raspberry made.
I was thinking more like vanilla and other things, but not
Vanilla
fried
with just
donutting
that-
my mead.
Just that little
Why
hint of
not? They
nutmeg
have
that they put
yeast.
in the plain donut.
You could make it. You could make like a bear claw mead. That would be awesome.
I don't think I know what that is.
Okay, it's like a.
No, I don't know
it's
what bear
like
claws are either.
Yeah, it's like a donut without a hole, and they weave them kind of like challah bread. But
Isn't that called cake?
it's kind of like cake, yeah. But they're donuts. They're made out of donut dough, so you know, or batter or whatever. But you know, they're like this big blob of thing covered in sugar frosting, and it's good. They're good. And sometimes, often they will mix apples into the mix, so you've got like chunks of apple all through it. It's really yummy.
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
Mead Viking has come in on Facebook or on Twitter with a comment, and he says, "I'm drinking a Chateau de Plywood, and it's absolutely epic. 18% heavy oak sweat show mead. It can kill a barley wine." He says it's 3 a.m. where he is, so he must be in Great Britain or something. That's about right.
It's only 10:30 here or 10:23 here.
Yeah, but that's tomorrow.
yeah.
So we're 12 hours apart here.
Pretty
Yeah, the
much.
sun's already past the yard arm here, man, so I got no excuse anymore.
Yeah, fuck that yard arm thing, man. Just throw the yard arm right out, okay? Just never mind the yard
Drink
arm.
when you want a damn
Just
drink.
yeah. I don't need no stinking yard arm.
Well, timing. I just opened up a blackberry GAO, and thank you very much, AJ, for the recipe.
There you go.
You're welcome. I hope it works out for you.
It did. It's not bad at all.
Good.
So, Sean, what's your favorite yeast?
I've got multiples, but I would say Belgian Abbey Ale. It'll be a White Labs. I don't know the exact number, but White Labs Abbey Ale yeast, and also just USO5 Fermentus or Sapphire USO5. Fantastic yeast, nice and clean. You can use it for pretty much anything.
That would be WLP 530 Abbey Ale yeast.
Yes. Yep. And just the USO5 which you can get quite readily in most of the homebrew stores in Australia. So.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys get a lot. It sounds like you get a lot of the same yeast that we do.
Yeah, I've met Chris White a couple of times. He's been over here for all the homebrew conferences and stuff.
Oh, cool.
And funnily enough, Brian from Artisan, he's the commercial White Labs importer for
Oh,
Australia.
Okay.
So
Oh.
makes things handy.
David has asked the perennial question, and since Manny's not here, it falls to David to ask it. Do you blend your yeasts?
I don't blend them, but I do put them in the same mead. So yes, in short,
Interesting.
it really. I have done ones where I've blended meads and then added more yeast, and I've also I will save yeast off of batches of beer and reuse that for meads or other beer, and then I can blend it that way as well. So, but there's also getting bottle dregs, which homebrewers do a lot in the US. We don't necessarily do that a lot here, but there are some beers that we can get them from here, and we build up yeast from the bottles, and then sometimes generally blend them.
Interesting. Yeah, we get. It was funny when I was reading the Brewing Up a Business book that was a story of Dogfish Head. One of the things they talked about was they had a local farmer that they were giving all their spent yeast to because it's really nutritious, right? You know, Vegemite, and I mean it's basically nutritional yeast. So they were giving all of their dregs, you know, and they've got ginormous tanks. So it was hundreds of pounds of this stuff to a local farmer who raised cattle, and the cattle were. He said you haven't lived until you've seen the cows chasing the truck around the pasture to get this stuff. And he said not only did the cows have a really good time, they were very happy cows, but they started buying their beef from this guy because they have a pub there too. Not at the production facility, but at their tasting room, at their tap room. And so they have burgers and whatnot. And he said we started buying our beef from the guy who we were selling, giving our yeast dregs to, and he said best beef ever.
Nice.
Yes, I've read that book too. That's an awesome book.
It is an awesome book, yeah. You want to read another one that'll knock your socks off, especially from a meat perspective, is the Barefoot Wine story. That was really interesting.
Oh, I don't have that one.
Yeah, get it. Trust me. Yeah, look it up on Amazon. Just look up the Barefoot Wine story, and it'll pop right up. But they had it was really neat because there was a couple people that sort of backed into being a winery. They never really set out to do that, but that's what it ended up being. and the stuff that they did and went through and had to deal with on their way up to where they are now, which is one of their premier, one of the most popular wine brands, and they still sell a really nice wine for a very reasonable price. It's like $9 or $10 US for a bottle.
It's pretty reasonable.
Yeah. Most people will look at it and sneer down their noses if they're wine snobs, but it's like, I've had them. They're not bad. They're nice wines,
I tried my hand at winemaking. It was a failure. I tried making Shiraz. Worst smell in the house. Never ferment that sort of stuff inside the house. And this was like when I first started making everything. I went to a local grape grower up in the Swan Valley, which is only about 45 minutes from me. And he said, first of all, I was the first Australian. So normally it's Italian families and Greek families and that go buy the grapes. I was the first Australian to buy grapes from him. So, which is quite funny. And so we got a bunch of Shiraz and hand crushed it and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, worst thing I ever did.
Crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I've never done.
There are some rules. It's a lot easier to make mead than it is to make wine, believe it or not.
Well, it depends on what you're making. A lot of it works out about the same. When you're making a melomel, you still have to process the fruit.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is way before I learned even how to make like beer and all that sort of stuff. So my first beginnings, but since then, obviously, I can make award-winning beers and stuff, and I've some meads as well. So, yeah.
Anne threw a question out for you before she had to step off. She's listening, but her little one woke up, so she had to go do the parent thing. But she was wondering about your temperature controls and if there are any honeys that you don't like when they ferment out.
Temperature controls, yeah, I've got fridges. for here, but also when if I'm at a brewery or that, we've got obviously the uni tanks and the glycol chillers and whatnot. But at home,